Story of the cup too full. Arun prided himself on being the most experienced engineer on his team. He'd been with the company for nearly a decade, and he had seen every version of their product come and go. So when his manager assigned him a new partner, a recent graduate fresh from university, Arun didn't think much of it. He assumed he'd be teaching, not learning. On their first day working together, the two sat in a small conference room reviewing the architecture of a tricky new feature. Arun laid out his approach, confident and precise, drawing boxes and arrows across the whiteboard. We should restructure the module from the bottom up, he explained. It's the only way to avoid breaking dependencies. His partner listened politely, then said, there might be a simpler way. What if we refactor only the part that's actually unstable? We could isolate it instead of replacing everything. Arun barely stopped himself from laughing. That won't work, he said. You're new, so you probably don't know how tangled the old code is. I looked at it this morning, the junior said gently. It's not as tangled as it used to be. And isolating could reduce the risk of regression. Arun's smile stiffened. He had 10 years of experience. The kid had barely 10 days. We'll do it my way, he said firmly, erasing the junior's suggestions from the board. For the next week, progress slowed to a crawl. Every time Arun tried to restructure the module, new conflicts appeared, like weeds growing faster than he could pull them. His frustration grew. The more he pushed, the less things fit together. One afternoon, as he hunched over his laptop surrounded by empty coffee cups, his manager passed by the open door and paused. You free for a moment? She asked. Arun nodded, though he didn't want to. She led him to the break room, where an elderly maintenance worker was refilling the coffee machine. On the counter beside him were two ceramic cups. Show him. Show him, Arun's manager said to the maintenance worker with a smile. The older man nodded, picked up a pot of tea, and began pouring it into one of the cups. He kept pouring even after the tea reached the brim. It spilled over the edge and dripped onto the counter. Arun stepped back. It's overflowing. The old man gave him a kind smile. Exactly. He set the pot down. This cup cannot hold anything new because it is already full. If you wish to receive fresh tea, you must first empty the cup. The manager looked at Arun gently. I think your mind might be a bit like that cup right now. Arun didn't respond. But the words echoed inside him for the rest of the day. That evening, still thinking about the overflowing cup, Arun returned to his desk long after everyone else had gone home. The office hummed softly around him. He opened the module again, but instead of launching into the code, he decided to read through everything slowly, without assuming he already knew the answer. Line by line, piece by piece, the architecture unfolded in a way he hadn't expected. The junior had been right, the code was cleaner than he remembered, and isolating the unstable part wasn't just possible, it was elegant. Arun sat back, stunned. He had been so sure of his expertise that he hadn't seen what was directly in front of him. His cup had been too full. The next morning, Arun found his partner already in the conference room. The younger engineer looked up, surprised to see him early. Arun took a breath. I looked at your idea again, he said. And I think I owe you an apology. You were right. Your solution is better. The junior's eyes widened. It's okay. I didn't want to overstep. Arun shook his head. You weren't overstepping. I just wasn't listening. A quiet understanding passed between them. Let's try your approach, Arun said. Together, they mapped out the plan. The refactor went smoother than either expected. The system behaved beautifully, and the team finished the feature ahead of schedule. At the next review meeting, their manager nodded approvingly. Great work, both of you. Arun felt a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time, not the pride of being right, but the peace of being open. Later that afternoon, Arun found himself in the break room again. The maintenance worker was wiping the counter. Thank you, Arun said. For what? The old man asked. For the cup. The older man chuckled. Ah. It is a simple lesson, but a hard one to live. Arun nodded. He understood that now. He had spent years filling his mind with knowledge, but somewhere along the way, he had stopped making room for anything new. Experience had turned into certainty. Certainty had turned into rigidity, but now, he was ready to empty his cup, not completely, just enough to let wisdom flow again. As he returned to his desk, he felt lighter, more curious, more alive. A beginner's mind wasn't a lack of experience. It was the willingness to learn, and in that moment, Arun felt like a beginner again. And that felt like the greatest expertise of all.